A long time ago, I was working in a neurotrauma unit for brain and spinal injuries. This was a specialized hospital, and at that time, we all thought that the brain basically was static at a certain age, that it was basically cooked and there wasn't much more development. Obviously, learning is a lifelong thing, but in terms of development and capacity, we all thought, well, the personality's set, the function's set, and there's not much more that can be done. But something happened in that hospital that changed everything for me in my perspective. Who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Today we're going to focus on the power of the brain and what that means for ourselves as leaders and our organization. A long time ago, as I mentioned, we thought that the brain was fixed. But today, under the concept of neuroplasticity, we understand completely different, that at any stage in life, the brain can learn new functions, can behave in a different way. And that means there's power for us as leaders and power for our organizations. So let me tell you a story of what changed my thinking on this. When I was 15, my parents were involved, all of us actually were involved in a very bad car accident. And the attorney for the insurance company was very harsh on me and my family, doing his job, but very harsh on all of us. Fast forward to the neurotrauma unit I mentioned in the beginning. I was working there, and one night the shift was changing and we were going over the board of patients, and lo and behold, there was this insurance lawyer's son, and his name was on the board. I took a gasp because I thought, man, how ironic that this is happening. As it turns out, his son was in a very terrible car crash, just like my family was. So when he walked into the room, I knew I had to do something to cut the tension. I walked up to him and I said, please don't worry, we're gonna do everything we can to take care of your son. I knew that he knew who I was and our family history, and I wanted to assure him that everything was going to be okay. Now, his son Barry came in a coma. He was quadriplegic, and he was in really bad shape. An axle had broken on his car, and his car had flipped into mountains. It was just a horrific accident. And at that moment, I decided to do something from the beginning, which was to treat Barry normally. What does that mean? That meant that I talked to him, I conversed with him, I asked him how his day was, I told him jokes. Every day I treated him as if he was out of the coma. We didn't know if he was gonna come out of the coma at all or whether it would be months. One day, my colleague and I were taking Barry to the quadriplegic bath. I had my hands on his butt, John had his head, and John leaned over and whispered in his ear, hey Barry, I wouldn't let Paul touch you there if I were you. And suddenly Barry's face lit up and he broke into a smile. He had come out of his coma. And so we placed him in the quad bath, and I came running out to tell his parents and to tell the nursing staff that Barry had come through. Part of the reason I think that Barry came through that is because there was active stimulus, that he was experiencing change every day. We were talking to him, we were treating him like a human being. And so the magic and the power of that is if we understand that we can change and jumpstart and create new pathways and new behavior and new activity, that's a powerful tool for all of us. Now, Barry came out of the coma, he became a motivational speaker. When I see Barry in a wheelchair, I see this amazing person who had changed so much. Other people, not so much, but I knew that where he came from, and I knew his journey. So what can we learn from that as leaders? Why am I telling you that story? Change can be two ways. It can be static, which is the slow moving, everyday path that our bodies take as we grow older. Or change can be dynamic. If you want your team to change and your organization to change, the best way to do it is experientially. That's the dynamic of it. Think about the Barry story. jump in the pool, do different things, force your people to get out of their comfort zone and experience how you want them to behave differently. Experience running that meeting or doing the workshop. In other words, don't just say the words, give them the opportunity to do that through action, because through action and movement and sound, that will unlock the new behavior. I hope you found today valuable and enjoyable, and thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.